Hi and welcome to another video from me, Christopher at DBG. So if you missed last week's, we finished this massive Ork custom workshop. This is obviously where they're going to build all their vehicles and stuff. Check out the playlist, you'll find the rest of how to build and a review of the whole product as well. Today is the biggest and arguably the hardest. It's got the most difficulty rating building we're going to do, which is the Iron Tooth Bastion. Now it is difficulty 5. It says estimated time to build is 5 hours. So the Iron Tooth Bastion is a towering rusty structure clambered with armoured decks, fire points, ladders and bulkheads. To be fair, by the picture it's got quite a lot of those. Everything in proper Orky faction, reinforced with extra supports and metal plates and skulls. There's definitely some Ork skulls on there. Sometimes spotted as a strong point in the line of Ork fortifications, but more often as a standalone stronghold holding Ork warbound, accompanied by smaller greensins and slaves terrorising nearby buildings. So it'll be an interesting concept of how big it is compared to that. You see by the picture it looks, dominating, which I think is the idea of this building. It's got a lot more MDF layers that we've seen before. Again, this is all from Tabletop Scenics. Massive shout out to those for sending the products to us to build and review, so please check out those. All the links and descriptions below. So let's crack it open and see what it is. I think the highest amount of parts so far that I've done on a build is 220. I think this is going to have a lot more. So there's a picture of everything. You can see it without the glare now. See if it's order. So these are all one labelled. So very Tabletop Scenics faction. We've got A, which is all numbered, but do bear in mind that just because it is lettered and numbered doesn't mean it's the order that it's going to go in. And B, already for example on B we've got part 2 on there, so let's see. Looks like some of the door parts. D, part D, part F, no, part E, sorry. There's some of the doors on here and some of the struts on the top right there. You can just see little holes, still adding those extra layers in. So there's F. G looks like they're going to be the second layer of the MDF to add that extra detail. So it's H. And I. Quite cool. Then we have K and J. So J is a little bit smaller one. K is the harder MDF, tend to be the supports and extra structures as well. So as you can see, quite a lot of there. Quite big structure, big bits as well, which I quite like. There's not so much more fiddly bits going on, and still an element of that, just because they've got so much detail in. Like any MDF, give it a little bit of a warm, damp clean first with warm water. It just gets rid of the laser process, manufacturing sort of markings that go on the MDF, and it'll just allow it to glue better and allow it to paint stick as well, and you'll get rid of any dirt that's on the MDF, which comes from the manufacturing process. So I'm going to build it in little parts. The instructions come in the book as well, quite a lot on there. But you can go on their website as well and it will tell you directly what's there. Final piece is part 47. So it'll be interesting. At the start it's all about building the structures up. It's quite cool. They're very clear instructions. I wouldn't recommend starting with this because you want to get used to the tabletop's sort of way of sort of the builds in a sense. So start with some of the Dakar bunkers, the other stronghold, defence lines and stuff like that, and work up to something like this. But I'm really looking forward to this. It's my last piece that they've sent me. Of course, I'd love to see be sent some more. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, please comment below as well, share and all that sort of stuff. The more support you give us, the more chance that companies are going to send us stuff like this to review. But it looks like a really big piece. To be fair, I might need a different box just to store it in, to be honest. But let's give it a crack. Let's see how far we go. Every stage I'm going to do a little bit of a review and show you how it's all going. So there's going to be progression steps as well. So hope you enjoy. Carry on watching. Let's get building. So progress so far, we have done section 1 to 5. It's just really building all the outsides first, and then there's a little bit more of a 3D door and a 3D platform there. The next part will be some elements that goes on here that actually slides behind the door and slides behind that, so there is a little bit of a gap there if you're wondering that it doesn't fit all the way close to the wall. So building this, it recommends that you do a couple of sections to the bottom and then put the top on. That's good if you've got loads of hands and being able to do that. What I recommend is that you build it all to the top structure first, all the edging to the top structure, and then once that's a little bit more set, then you put it onto the base. The reason for that is because there is sort of the ball and socket points all the way around this side, so you can slot them in, put the glue in, and the base is just push down. So that's what I recommend, and I think you'll find it a lot less stressful if you just keep building it piece by piece, hoping that it's just going to stay there while you get the next piece done. So build it to the top structure first, then all the edging, and when it's a little bit dry, then stick it down to the bottom. And you can also turn it upside down and push the bottom in as well, which again, just less stressful, less worrying about all parts falling apart. So that's where we're at so far. The next stage is putting some of the 3D elements onto the edging here. I think I'm going to do that and then see how far we get. So let's keep going. So progress so far in the Bastion, and if you didn't watch the previous video I did, which was about my unboxing and general chat, notice I have no beard at the moment, so this is all part of Movember. Charity links are all in there if you do wish to take part, but equally if you do take part and do donate minimum of £1, then you get entered in, and you comment on the video, then you get entered into our Christmas mega massive prize giveaway. More videos to follow during sort of the closer to actual Christmas. It sounds a bit weird talking about Christmas in November, but it's just an early entry basically into our giveaway. But let's go on to the Bastion. So the last bit I didn't quite finish the underneath, and that is now all done. Quite easy to do, you know, it's just slotting in over the top parts that fit. The next part was all the way up to section 20, which is where I am now. The most complicated part were the doors, so you can see they actually pop inside. When you do them, it feels really weird that you're doing them that way, and a door on the other side. So what this part here is another extension on top of the Bastion. you can really tell how big it actually is. So if I just take a rhino, sashi, rhino whole, then you can see how actual big it is. The fact is, the rhino just fits on top, and we've got another level to go up. So they're pretty much, it's very similar. The door entries on the part are interesting because that's part of where scaffolding goes and walkways go through into that door, which is quite cool. There's other little touches as well, like inside the door is actually part of the sandwich effect of adding in DMDF. I like this fact. The fact is that it's, it's covered, so you have a real cool fact that orcs can hide in there. Now I can imagine something like grots and things like that, so if you had an objective in there and a grot was in there, that it'd be almost impossible to shoot because of the high level of the walls, which sort of makes sense. Those smaller miniatures, scarabs for example, would be hiding behind these type of scenery. You just won't be able to see them, so it adds a real dynamic to those cheap units that normally just get wiped out. Actually using tactfully from the start and actually tactfully putting where your objectives will go will be interesting. You've got little parts of here, just add the extra 3D element into it. This part has two little parts here that have little grips that go on. I haven't done those yet, but they are due soon on where I am. The slowest thing is adding in these parts, because you're quite high up. You don't want it to dry like this because they'll just slide down. So you do need to lean it sideways, which means that anything that's on the other side has to be solid, has to be dry. So you can't just keep working and working on this piece of scenery. You do need, unfortunately, you need time for it to dry, but trust me, it'll be worth it. The fact is that it's already 2 levels already, and you've got some big area for it to go. And then you've got another level on top of that. So, it's quite cool. I really like it. It doesn't seem like much at the moment if you take this concept out, but if you just take this level out, it's a really cool structure. I'm looking forward to how far it goes up. And the next part is doing sort of like very similar to the 2 doors, but with different features on there. So they'll go inwards again. And then adding a part on the bottom here, on that part, just to give it that 3D element again. Then adding another level going up, and then that's when it sort of becomes the true structure. The fact is, the top part is the element where it's a big bastion on top, and that's where all the army, all the ranges, where everyone can shoot out, is going to be. It's going to have the biggest line of sight opportunity there, but equally create some line blockers, or at least defensive, being in defence and things like that, which is quite cool. And I do love all this scenery, and I do love the fact that it's defensive and things like that. And with the new stratagem coming up, if you go second, +1 to all your cover, or +2, things like that are suddenly really, +1 I think it is, give them one go. You're going to start really changing the aspect of the game. Equally, Imperial Fists and Iron Warriors that ignore terrain, ignore cover with their shooting, suddenly become up another level. And that's why I'm doing Crimson Fist Army, sort of heavy on Dreadnoughts with the Predators, and in Assessors with Elites. And it's not a tournament competitive army, but still has enough bite for sort of local games, and it's going to look good when I finish it anyway. They're almost like the anti of cover. They can sit in cover, get the bonuses, shoot out of it, but the enemy's not going to receive their cover bonuses. So it's quite cool as a defensive element, but also very offensive as well. And just the piece, how big this is going to be, is going to block some really good line of sight for those tanks, those dreadnoughts, and things like that. You can have different models and different levels, and still be able to hide or move and shoot. So I really like it. I really recommend it. I believe it's about 27 quid. So for what it is, well worth it. And already it's quite heavy. I must admit, it's got some weight to it. it's not one of those pieces you feel that's just you're gonna drop it and it's gonna break sort of thing. You know, it's a solid piece of scenery. There's gonna be quite a lot of paint and things like that, so getting that either spray it or prime it first. So the MDF soaks the paint up first, rather than actually your coloured paint and stuff like that. So I always prime like black or maybe like a tin or off metallic. I might prime this, but I'm not too sure yet. I'll see where it goes. There's a friend of mine that really wants to paint scenery, so I might give it to him and then might airbrush it and then come back to me with some fantastic results, and I'll sort of show you all out what it is. But this is the last piece of scenery I've got from Tabletop Scenics. I have ordered some TT Combat stuff that are Ork based, because what I really wanted to do was actually do a direct comparison between the two. The TT Combat tends to be really flat, it tends to be easier builds, you know, one dimensional and all that, which is fine. Where TT Scenics is a step in the right direction of MDF if you want to improve your skill and get more texture, get better building, you know, all of that. But it's nice to see the comparison. I do honestly think that Tabletop Scenics will win hands down, because they're not overly priced and they're almost on the same price as TT Combat stuff. But I'll see what they're like and go from there. You know, I've got the Ork Scatter scenery from the Speed Freak box set, which I think would really sit nicely with this piece of scenery. I'm just about to do an order through to Urban Mats as well, because they've offered me a little bit of a deal just to be able to show off their products. So I'm looking at their gaming mats and their scenery. Again, this scenery could almost fit on any type of mat you've got. Grassland, perfect. Desert, perfect. Urban, perfect. City fight, perfect. Because it doesn't have a base, but also because it does, it's Ork. Orks would make the structures sort of fit in any environment. Snow, perfect. Maybe just scatter some snow on there. Done. You know, it's got some quite quirky ability, accessibilities and versatility as well. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to build up on the next structure, let you know how it goes. Let's keep going with the video. Hope you enjoy so far. Do comment below, let us know what type of things you're working on as well. Okay, so I've jumped a couple of parts. For the reason is, I've got to the top, but the top isn't what you're supposed to stick on at the stage that I'm at. What they suggest is that you do all the side edging of this part, which I haven't done yet. Do all the top, so all the walls, the chains and all of that sort of stuff, stick it on, and then at the end you stick on the top to the bastion. Now I've foreseen that actually I would struggle with this personally, because there is a number of points that you have to stick on. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9 points that you have to stick, push down, while avoiding knocking all the edging out. So to stop that, I've just gone away and stick it, and even then it was problematic. What I did was, instead of sticking all this round edging to the bastion itself, I stuck them to the joints at the top of the top turret, top layer. Then I pushed it down and stuck it to the side at the same time. You do need quite a lot of patience on this. Things will fall off and it will take its time. You just need to take your time. This is what I did. If you're watching when you're building this as you go along, watch the whole video, just because it might not work out and I don't know yet. But with this building so far, I find that sometimes working from the top down on this part definitely is what I recommend at this stage. But do find out at the end whether or not the next part of this goes horribly wrong because I've done it in the wrong order. But I generally think this is the better move for me. The only thing I can see that's going to be a little bit more difficult is getting the inner layers in there, but actually you can slot them down and go from there anyway, so I'm not too worried. The biggest worry for me was when all this top layer was built, it would be so heavy I wouldn't be able to slide it down properly. Now you could, in theory, still do that process and cut all the little joints off and just use it as flat and stick the glue, use the glue just on the flat edging, which would be perfectly fine. I still think that would work, but don't use something stronger than just MDF for that, because you haven't got the access, the thing that's going to stop him sliding along. You've got to wait for that glue really to slide in. So maybe like Gorilla Glue or Gorilla PVA or something like that. It's known to be a lot stronger than what I use, which is cheap, fast-acting pound shop PVA glue. But to me, it works perfectly fine as long as it's not too many flat edgings and there's sort of like a socket for a lot of the MDF going. So next part of me is I'm going to let this completely dry overnight. I want this part really secure when I'm putting on the top layer, so it doesn't move around, and I want it dry so when I'm sliding in the edging on here, so you can already see a bit, there we go, a little bit that's already wet there, so that's why the reason why I want it solid at the moment. But in T, it's really big. I haven't even, I've still got to do loads of edging, loads of different features on there. It's going to be awesome. So let's get going. It's just a real good concept. The top, it's big on a rhino, so we're going to fit loads, plenty of orcs on there. Let's keep going. Let's keep building. But I'm going to let it dry. Keep watching. You'll see what the next part is like. Hi. So this bastion is finished. And I know you're probably looking at my face going, what have I done? This is all in aid of charity, Movember. When I started the video, I probably had some type of beard, or might even be shaven, I can't remember. It's taken me almost a week to build this thing. It wouldn't take you a week, it's purely because of life, children, and finding the time to do my hobby. So, and film as well as I build, so it's taken that time. So if you want to know the video from Movember, I'll put a link in the description. Also my sponsor page if you do feel you want to sponsor. If you do pay or give anything to Movember, you are automatically entered into our Christmas giveaway draw as well as an extra entry. So there's an incentive that way. But let's talk about this bastion rather than my stupid face. So Tabletop Scenics sent it to me. I didn't know what to make of it. With all the other orc scenery, it is huge. It's about 8.5 inches up, and in its widest point it's about 7.5 inches wide as well, so it's a big piece of scenery. I just want to compare it to Predator. It overshadows it. The fact is the Predator could even sit on top quite easily. So let's have a look. Photos of it a bit closer are on my Instagram. Apologise that some of the glue is still drying. So you see all the little edging, you see a little crane part there that's just hanging down. They're all extra accessories, and in fact I've got loads of extra bits I could stick on, a bit like this part here, little extra spikes that they've put. Now the most difficult part of this was the top, in my opinion. I did this bit wrong, so I stuck on the top first, but I forgot to put the underneath of the hatch. So what I've done is sort of a makeshift and just stuck it and layered it. Actually, it doesn't look like I've made a mistake, but I generally have made a mistake. So apologise if you're following it all the way through. Just do this at the end, just stack it up and layer it. Around the edging, that took ages to sort of set and dry and hold in position, so there's a lot of fiddling and stuff. So I recommend just taking your time on that. And then the fiddly bit at the end was getting these sort of layering outside, detail. There's so many layers where people can hide, and you can put some models in there. You can put models on this side, on top, here, underneath, all around here. There's so many little aspects that I love about this bastion. It retails at under £25, I believe. You can pick it up from British retailers, but you can also pick it up from Tabletop Scenics themselves on Kremlik. They I'm gobsmacked with the level of detail in this compared to a normal Bastion. There's my little one coughing in the background. They're quite ill at the moment, both of them are quite poorly. Might have to get off. I don't know where that's going to edit into this video. I'll try and make it as smooth as possible, but that was one of many night feeds as a parent. As Dad, I often do the night feeds because my wife struggles with the mornings and is on maternity leave at the moment, so she has to handle the child or kids, depending on when Teddy's not in nursery, on two at once. And believe me, it doesn't matter what anyone says, looking after children, I have a hard job. I have a very, very tough job, stressful job. But believe me, a day on my hardest day at work is nothing compared to a normal day with the two children. As much as lovely as they are, and as cute and as sweet and doing everything right, you're, as a parent, well, me anyway, I always feel on edge. I'm like hyper alert all the time, and that's exhausting. Let alone not having the sleep deprivation as a parent is something that's never in any of the handbooks. There is no guidance on it. You just got to muster through. And to me, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I use my hobby time to basically de-stress, chill, and go from there. But night feeds, I'm quite good with minimal sleep anyway, where my wife isn't so much, so we're a good team in that sense. She runs down, makes the milk, I go and do the feed. Normally do one change in a night, but again, Pacey's ill, so it's a good way of getting cowpole down to him. I think I have 2 children that don't like cowpole. Even the one with sugar, they don't like it. I don't know how that works. But let me know how life goes for you as a parent. It's going to be a parenting advice group. But let's wrap the video up. It's got a lot just trying to finish it. So, Amazing Bastion. Do all the likes, subscribe, join us on Instagram. I constantly post pictures on there, constantly go straight onto our Facebook page as well. You're going to see more and more photos than videos by sure. So if you're just up for that quick little look, I will be sharing all my armies. I've got a video, I've got a photo of every single army I've ever had, painted from the last 8 years, not before that unfortunately, but I'll be sharing on Facebook and stuff like that. So wherever you are in the world, make it a good one, and happy hobbying, and good luck parents.